Thank you for joining the RepairBASE Demo by Bluebook International. RepairBASE is a cost estimating software specifically designed for the preservation and REO space. This webinar will outline how RepairBASE can help to reduce liability and potentially increase bid approvals. So, why are cost estimators used in the preservation industry? Well, it really comes down to consistency. Previously, vendors would submit bids based on what they thought the price should be. However, there was really no means of validating the pricing. So the cost estimators have included materials, labor, insurance, and other factors in the pricing. It is zip code based, and the data is up to date based on material supply shortages, supply demand, things like that. So it's really important to use a cost estimator because the pricing is validated. Also, it has become an industry standard. HUD uses RepairBASE to validate bid pricing that's submitted to them for conveyance bids, and it is also accepted by most national companies. So if you're working for a national field service company, they will most likely accept RepairBASE bids. So as mentioned, included in the hourly rates and line items are the fees included in insurance. So if workers' compensation insurance is a certain percentage in the state, then that would be included in the price of the bid so that you can pay the insurance fees as they come up. And bids are really important in the preservation industry. It's one way to reduce liability and also to increase revenue. The clients want to know what exactly is happening on their properties, and most of the time they do that through bids. So bids are really important. It's not just a check the box exercise, but it's a really key essential part of property preservation. That said, it's important that all of the measurements and information provided are accurate, because if they are not, then the bid itself is invalid. So measurements in a cost estimator, depending on the item, are either in United inches or linear feet or square feet or cubic yardage. So make sure you are providing accurate measurements. And when you're submitting your line items, don't just use a miscellaneous line item and say, trim shrubs $100, because that's not validated. That's not including the insurance and the labor and the materials and all of the things that go into a bid. Make sure you're using the relevant line item in RepairBASE. There are thousands of line items to choose from, so it would be highly unlikely that the line item you're looking for is not available. So make sure you familiarize yourself with the line items and that you're selecting the correct one. And also, in some cases, there might need to be multiple line items used for one bid. For example, if you're repairing the roof, you probably wouldn't just replace shingles. You would replace felt and other things like that below the surface. So you would need to select multiple line items. And we'll show how to do that here in just a few moments. And also comments. Make sure you're explaining why the work is needed. And we can also show you that as part of the demo in RepairBASE. All right, let's look and see how it's done. You would go to bluebook.net, and we'll go ahead and go there now. And when you're on Bluebook, you're going to select Residential Repair Cost Solutions and scroll down to Preservation, Bluebook RepairBASE. If you have not already signed up, you can sign up now. Or if you have signed up, you can go ahead and go to your customer login. And then there are other software products available by Bluebook, and we can talk about those later. But for now, we're going to go ahead and just select RepairBASE. And then we're going to go ahead and log in. And once you're in here, if you'd like to purchase credits, you can do that, or you can go ahead and create your order. You also can call into Bluebook, and we'd be happy to help you with credits as well. All right, let's go ahead and create an order. Our product type is going to go ahead and be the RepairBASE Preservation. Your reference ID would generally be your work order number. For today, we're just going to use test. Select your property type. That is important because the bid will be based on your property type. So we're going to go ahead and do single family detached. I'm just going to use a generic address for the demo. All right, and then we're going to create our order. All right, so it did tell us that that address was not found. It's because I used a generic address. The nice thing about that, though, is if you've typed something wrong, it will let you know. We're just going to go ahead and say that's okay. We're going to continue for today. And the reason it's important to use a correct address is obviously you're doing services at the property, but also it does pre-populate for you all of the information about the property if the property is in the database. So it's important to go ahead and make sure your address is correct. Also, structure quality. The bid will be based on the type of materials that the house was originally built with. So we want to make sure that we're adding the structure quality. Most of the time it's going to be builder, but sometimes you may be in a custom home area or a designer home where all the fixtures are designer. But we're just going to go ahead and put builder. And in this case, the structure is good, but it is important if it is in poor condition to go ahead and note that as well, because that goes in, it factors into the repair costs as well. Right, lot size, we're just going to make something up there. And roof pitch, also important because if you do roof repair, roof replacement, the pitch is important in the bid. All right, we're going to go ahead and push continue. All right, if you have a client that requires you to submit bids based on room, living room, bedroom, bathroom, you can go ahead and add rooms. However, if they do not require that, you can just go ahead and add your repairs under house. For the demo, we're going to go ahead and just do landscaping bid line items. So you'll see here you have your category, then you have your subcategory, and then your action. We're going ahead and select cut lawn. When we got there, we realized the grass was over 12 inches, and this client only allows us to cut up to 12 inches for the allowable. So we're going to go ahead and add a line item to cut the grass. And it's going to go ahead and do each instead of the square footage because it's saying already you're going to cut up to 5,000 square feet. So we'll push continue. And then we're going to do a search for landscaping. If you notice subcategory, there are all of these different line items. Well, we're going to go ahead and say that we need to trim the shrubs as well. The nice thing is there's lots of different ways to bid shrubs. So, you know, saplings, if you see saplings coming up, you can go ahead and click that. But for in this one, we're going to go ahead and just say we're going to trim the shrubs around the house because most of the time that's the ones that clients would want us to do. And we're going to do the top and two sides. And they're, you know, these are the correct measurements. So we're going to select that. But if you notice, it says includes cleanup of clippings, but does not include haul away or disposal. So the cleanup of clippings would be sweeping them up into a pile. But then we need to submit a separate line item for the haul away or disposal. So that is very important. So let's go ahead and do the first line item. We'll go ahead and add that. And it's going to ask us how many linear feet. So we're going to say there were 75 linear feet that needed to be completed. Well, why do we need to do this? Is it just because they don't look pretty? Is there a fire code? Does the HOA require it? We're going to go ahead and type that in. So we'll put that. Or if it was a fire code, I would highly suggest putting in the actual code number so that the client has a reference point, which will most likely help with your bid approval. Okay. If there is a fire hazard, for example, I know in some states, California requires that shrubs be trimmed to a certain amount, then you can go ahead and select that as well. I'm going to select that today just so you see what it looks like on the bid. All right, we're going to go ahead and push continue. Now we need to go and add the line item for removing the debris. So that would be under cleaning exterior. The more you use the system, the more you become familiar with where all of the line items are. So in this case, we're going to scroll to the per cubic yard of removing trash because we know that that's how the clients like to have us bid it. We're going to push continue. And then in this case, we believe it'll be about 2 cubic yards that will need to be removed with all the linear feet that were there. It is important to note that this is removal of shrub trimming. The reason that this is important is if there is other debris on the property, you want to separate it out. So say the client wants you to just trim the shrubs and remove the shrub trimming debris, but they don't want you to remove all the other debris, it needs to be separated out. So make sure you're putting comments there and then they know they're associated. All right, we'll go ahead and close it out. And that would have all of our information there. We can preview our estimate to make sure that everything is correct. We can scroll down and take a look at all line items. If you notice here, it's flagged it as a hazard. And then it also has our notes here. So that's important. Also has the note for this one as well. You can print the report, create a PDF, or you can also email a report link if you have a client that does email. The nice thing, there are multiple other options that you can utilize. There you can add photos to your estimate if you'd like. You can do profit and overhead. All of those details are something we'd be happy to walk you through, but for today's demo, we're going to keep it pretty basic. If you have any questions, feel free to call in and we'd be happy to help you out. All right. Also, if you are completing hazard claim or repair jobs and would like a system that's a little bit more in depth, you can go to bluebookpro.com and get a free demo or a free sample of how to use Pro Estimator. If you are just doing preservation, you can go ahead and go to bluebook.net. Thank you so much for attending and have a great day.